Here we are. Yeah, that'll do.
Does that mean it's on?
Yeah, it's recording now. Red dot. It's recording.
So when I should stop.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I end up doing is uploading the complete unedited stuff to the internet as well.
Oh, okay.
So we get like our edited version, but all the stuff's on there.
YouTube! There goes it. So yeah, today we reviewed...
Well, introduce yourself, sir. Yeah, hi, I'm
Okay.
Joe.
I'm Joe.
I'm Mike.
And today we reviewed Bloodsport for our 80s action films.
First time we've done an 80s action film, isn't it? So, do you wanna sum up the plot?
Well, if you can think of the most stereotypical 80s action film that you can, Bloodsport's not too far away. But basically, Jean-Claude Van Damme wants to be part of the Kumite?
Yeah. Kumite.
Which is like this underground fighting ring that everybody seems to know about in Hong Kong. So he skips out of some military base, and we don't know why he's there, to fight in this
illegal blood sport kind of, death match.
And well, it's 80s to the max. You got big hair, no shoulder pads, plenty of pecs, lots of doing the splits.
Quintessential Van Damme, basically.
Oh yeah, the music.
The music was something else as well. Right then, it's got to be said that it was. Well, I don't know how to put it. The film was very entertaining. That's undeniable. I'm not sure it was entertaining for the right reasons.
That would have been my next point. Yeah. It's the kind of thing where you laugh at it and then you kind of go, "Oh God, that's so bad. It's good." Like
a lot of it has come full circle, hasn't it? Like it is just so terrible that it just starts to become enjoyable again.
The montages.
Oh man, the montages.
This isn't just like one memorable montage. This is like one might not cut this.
Yeah.
We might need 2 or 3, maybe even 4.
It was basically a constant montage with just a bit of a gap in between, wasn't it? Just to like, no, it's a good montage. Now don't worry, another one's coming, but just relax and enjoy this.
Speaking of montages, the opening scene, well, it's just that big flashback, really.
Yeah. Really confusing, actually, isn't it?
But it's not clear that it is a flashback. Apart from the fact that every 5 seconds, it just cuts to Van Damme looking at like this sword, but the sword's not in shot. So he could be staring at like
anything.
Some old lady falling over. The birth of his first child. It could be anything, and he's just kind of. And then we cut back to
him being thrown around.
Well, yes, but like the start bit, it's like these naughty westernised kids break into this Japanese man's home and try and steal his samurai sword. And the kid that doesn't want to do it gets caught out by this Japanese guy, gives him a telling off, then takes a sword and cuts the front of his baseball cap off, and the kid just reacts completely fine to that. And then the next bit was a little hazy, but it seemed to be that this guy's son's being bullied. So he needs a friend, and he's like, for breaking into my house, you've got to be my son's friend. And then they do like a training montage thing, and then you think, okay, that's the flashback over, but it's not.
It just keeps going, doesn't it?
Because then you get this whole thing where Van Damme, you think, oh, this is the bit where he's actually come to talk to the old man. This old Japanese guy is apparently ill. That's the whole reason he's in the house in the first place. But no, this is another flashback. It's like Inception. It's flashbacks inside of flashbacks. And then it's just Jean-Claude getting his ass handed to him while doing the splits.
Lots
of splits. Then he's blindfolded. Then he's trying to drink tea while blindfolded. And apparently that will all train you to become the Universal Soldier, or however he'd prefer to be called in this one.
I was going to say, he's in the military, but they never actually establish what he is. It's just, he must be something special, because they keep talking really vaguely about, we can't afford to lose you, you're
He's
twins.
the janitor. This gym's a disgrace. Clean it. Okay, I work to Hong Kong now.
Alright. Let's talk about the fact that it was really unclear at the beginning of the film whether it was actually like foreign and then just had been dubbed over in English, wasn't it?
Yeah, because like it's Harry acting to the max. all the way through. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody go so googly-eyed, everything. It's just like...
Everyone's expressions were something else, right? And every time they throw a punch, you'd just be like...
And the characters, I mean, you got Jean-Claude as Frank Dukes, but it was just spelled...
Who's apparently a real guy.
Which is just spelled Dux, D-U-X. I think you're stretching it to call it Dux, or Dukes, or whatever. And then we've got Ray Jackson, quintessential American fighter, who basically is just this massive bloke with a beard and a penchant for Harley Davidson merchandise, who just goes around absolutely piling on people. And that's just how he wins. We watched him first and we're like, oh, this guy's going to kick his ass. So this Oriental guy's landing a couple of punches. And then this guy pretty much grabs him by the face and just, well, it was like something out of Gears of War.
It really was. No, the film is called Bloodsport, and they definitely like earned their title. They didn't skimp on the blood. It wasn't like a Saw film where it's gory, but when people got hit, there was always spray and there was always...
Eventually. But you have to wait like half an hour until actually does any fighting, because that montage took forever. We got like 20 minutes in and it felt like the retelling of the Bible.
It must be said, the pacing of the film was a little off. One thing that can usually be said about like 80s action films is that they're kind of engaging from the minute you put them in, but this one did take a bit of time to get going.
It was trippy, it was that confusing. I have no idea what's going on. The flashbacks really threw me. It took me a while to get into the groove of the actual film as a result of those flashbacks.
Yeah, it's probably not good practice to start off with flashbacks before you even know the character.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know the character or anything, you might as well just start back then and have it chronologically him age.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, all we saw was he's in the army, and then he comes to this house and he has this massive flashback. They could have just started as him as a child and gone through it, and it would have felt more like, it would have felt like you grew with the character more.
I felt like maybe they considered that, but they clearly had to, somewhere someone thought, we clearly have to get his prestigious military background into this.
Yeah.
But then they failed to capitalise on it. Like there's this one point in the film, and this will get me, because like they're clearly trying to show that the Kumite is this underground secret location. So they've got like a point of view shot of Jean-Claude going down this really dark, dingy corridor like something out of the first Terminator. And then all of a sudden there's these really old doors, and there's these two guys standing there, and all of a sudden he's basically walked into the arena from Gladiators.
It's to say it's supposed to be really illegal, and like there's that scene with the reporter, and she won't talk. She's trying to get the story out of some fighters, and they won't talk about it. And then like this skinny tall guy turns up. You guys are with the Kumite, right? And it's just what? Mixed signals.
Keep it on the down low. They haven't paid. They can't know about this.
And then to jump ahead a bit, but right at the end, just to capitalise on it, the like random detectives or whatever that have been tracking him down just walk in and watch the last fight. Like, is there no...
They get really into it. One of these detectives is Forrest Whitaker, and this isn't like Last King of Scotland Oscar-winning Forrest Whitaker. You might want a citation on that, I'm not sure. But this is just like, oh, you're just an asshole throughout the whole thing.
Don't make me tase. Don't tase me, bro.
And these aren't like tasers. These are like tasers. They're like Terminator plasma rifles. They're massive.
They are something else. Easily deflected though by a dustbin lid.
Yeah, what was that about? That should have just fried him.
Because he's holding a metal thing. They should have just like... That would have been fantastic.
Like, as we were saying earlier, the whole point is there's these two, what are they, FBI, CIA, we don't know what they are.
They're trying to get Dukes back because he's some sort of high-level agent or something.
Two suits have basically decided on behalf of the American nation that Jean-Claude Van Damme, a Belgian, is too valuable to the American people that he can't go out in his spare time to go and fight in some Far Eastern martial arts exhibit. He has to come back right now, and they make a real botch of trying to bring him back. Like that, he's going to. They do like a second point of view shot down this corridor. Then they're waiting at the end, and he somehow knows that they've lured this massive trap for him. So it was the 80s, denim shirt, going down this corridor. First guy comes out, bam. Second cop comes out, kicks him in the throat, and then like locks him in this room. I'm pretty sure that guy needs medical attention. I don't care who you are or how important you are to the Americans. The people of Hong Kong don't like their figures of authority being kicked in the throat and hidden in dark alleyways. And this brings us back to the bit with the dustbin lid. They try and fry him with these tasers. He beats up about 3 cops and they let him go.
They established this. The main, like, the police chief, I assume, goes to pull his gun, and one of the suits is like, no, we need to take him back. It's like, at this point, he's taken out multiple of his men. He's not going to care that you need to take him back.
He was just a felon in the end.
Yeah, he just went out. Like, what got me is, as well, I know that they established that the triads were involved and they were putting pressure on, and that's why, like, the police weren't shutting it down. But you can't just let people go around taking out cops. It's a slightly different thing. Because it was the whole thing. If you fight if you're in the Kumite and you get into fights outside of it whilst it's going on, you're disqualified. Well, I'm pretty sure taking down a police division counts. Like, I don't know. It's just.
Some of the characters, like minor characters, were interesting. Hussein, the Iranian fighting man, who didn't even have like traditional head garb on, they were clearly struggling in the prop department. I
got a tea towel.
It was a tea towel with just like a wide belt tied to his head, and then he tries to make off with some American reporter woman, and Jean-Claude's not having any of this, so he basically goes all Darren Brown on him and like pulls a magic trick that apparently wows him so much that okay.
Well, I guess you can have that, lady.
I'm not going to be a rapist for the rest of this film. You beat me at a simple coin thing.
It's just, coin tricks.
Yeah. Oh god, it was well, that was interesting. But then the main villain, there didn't seem to be a villain throughout the whole thing, which for an 80s action film
is surprising, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
the thing is, what's his name? Chung Lee, I think.
Yeah, Chung Lee.
Now, he is the quote-unquote villain, but realistically, he's just another fighter, and yes, okay, he kills people when he's fighting, but if you're going to enter into no-holds-barred combat where death is an option, like, don't get pissy when the guy chooses to break your neck.
There's this one point where, like, he puts this guy in a chokehold, and then he's just kind of like...
What's up?
Yeah, and everyone's loving that. But then as soon as he kills somebody in the ring, I swear he kills somebody before this point as well, because he does the whole neck break.
They never establish if he kills any of them or if he doesn't. They established that previously he did, but it's always a bit ambiguous in this one. But even if he did, let's face it, the audience is there for a blood sport. It's like the gladiators, they want to see people get,
Like, he didn't even seem that impressive a fighter, apart from the fact that he's got pecs the size of dinner plates. I mean, those
things can't be real. They're like down to his belly button.
It was like Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, but like, they clearly had to get this guy in some kind of... We had to know that he was the main bad guy, because when he finally fights Ray Jackson, a Harley Davidson wearing American beer drinking slugger, he's kicking the crap out of him, and then he just goes off on like this massive like taunt, and Chong Lee's just there like, nobody makes me bleed my own blood, and then he just he curb stomps him.
Yeah.
And Jean-Claude can't let that stand.
we got to talk about Ray Jackson and Frank Duke's relationship. They met each other for 2 days, and then like the guy was passed out for the 3rd day in hospital. And then they having this "I fucking love you, man" moment at the end.
It was homoerotic, to say the least.
Literally, though, they've only known each other for 48 hours, and like, what have they? They went to see a sport where, like, they went, okay, we'll go watch some fights, fine. They played a video game, and like, Ray drank a lot of beer, and they're now like firm friends for like all eternity.
The filmmakers seem to capitalise on the fact that because Bloodsport was 88, they seem to capitalise on the fact from the mid to late 80s, because of films like Top Gun, American men wanted to see homoerotic shows of emotion between 2 men. Yeah. And then they go and fight or fly planes or whatever.
Talk to me, Goose.
But the 80s. Okay, I love the 80s. It was just a decade on cocaine with Hawaiian shirts. What's not to like? But some of the garbage it could produce was incredible. And just that, the film wasn't bad, but that relationship in itself, they'd known each other for 2 days. It wasn't like they saved the world or anything like that.
There'd be a couple of...
It takes James Bond longer to pull women than it took for them two to become lifelong buddies. All over like a curb stomp and a couple of cans of cheap beer.
I gotta say, it seemed to me, right, that the early part of the film, like we talked about the flashback, they're really establishing his training and the fact that he's inheriting a like secret martial art from this guy whose son has died.
Yeah.
And they really focus on how important it is and how kind of sacred and traditional it is. And they put so much time into that, and then the minute he gets to the tournament, it's completely left aside. I mean, they mentioned once that he can do this like
and apart from the fact, this is why you're not supposed to like Chong Li, because he doesn't fight fair. Gets to the final, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme as Frank Dukes, and Chong Li, played by whoever. And, sorry, that's poor knowledge. Jean-Claude's maybe winning. And then, before the fight, we see that Chong Li has got this little pill inside like the waistband of his shorts. And he then like breaks this and throws it into Jean-Claude's eyes. Now, we were discussing this while watching the film. Was it chalk? Was it LSD? We don't know.
I think it was an hallucinogen because
he's tripping balls.
Yeah.
he does his whole googly eye thing, which he likes to do at every opportunity, and then he remembers that he can pick up a cup of tea blindfolded. So that means he can fight this absolutely ridiculously hench bloke blind.
I do take it back actually. It does come in at that last fight where he has this little flashback about him.
They don't big it up.
No,
most films they big that up in.
It seems to me almost like I bet you they film/writ the arena, the fights first, and then they kind of filled in the plot holes with that flashback.
Yeah.
Because that would actually explain why the flashback felt so out of place, because they just needed to tack on reasons whilst he could do it.
Well, most feature-length films need to be an hour and a half, and that was pushing an hour and a half to the belt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a heavy Christmas dinner. Like, oh God, these fight scenes don't cut it, we've only got an hour.
Long flashback and a lot of close-ups on Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's always the same kind of expression. It's just like,
crap, he's paid hourly. We better just take the same shots of him.
Oh God.
To summarise,
final thoughts. I actually did really enjoy it. It's not a particularly well-made film. The cinematography and all that, it's fine. It's an 80s action film, and you do kind of know what you're getting when you go into it. I will say that there's some loose plot, but realistically, you went in there to watch some fights, and they weren't bad. So I think, providing that you're aware of the type of film that you're going into, it's actually a very good example of its genre. Yeah,
I'd say it was good for what it was. Like, put it this way, if it was released in the present day,
I'd be slated.
Like, for example, I watched Olympus Has Fallen. I got about 20 minutes in, and I could not take any more. And this is a man who enjoys action films, but it holds up for its time. The fighting, like, it's not well choreographed. Like, it's not like The Matrix or anything. But if you want brutality, there's this one point with a compound fracture that I just couldn't watch. Did not like that at all. But it's brutal. It's a blood sport after all. So it captured that well. If you want hammy acting, it's all there. You know, your lead actor he can't crack a smile, he can't do anything without it just looking completely ridiculous. Looks like he works on prompt and smile and frown and googly eyes.
I must say though, as a final thought, if you like watching Jean-Claude Van Damme do the splits, this is definitely the film for you.
This is the film for you. If there was a holiday brochure on people doing the splits, well, he's your cover man.
Yeah, it was just something else. Anyway, hope you liked the video.
Yes, enjoy.